Feeling the weight of this intense transformative energy? This Virgo season challenges us to get practical in unraveling deep-rooted patterns as Pluto makes its final stand in Capricorn. We're called to dismantle outdated ideals and confront the wounded energy that's shaped our world and society. As we navigate self-abandonment and redefine relationships from the wholeness of our hearts, the feminine healing power becomes the key to unlocking a future built on harmony rather than ego. Are you ready to embrace this radical shift? Then come crack the code of this week's chart with me. Man, I cannot believe we are already in September. This summer was weird. All that Pluto portal stuff I've been talking about, now that I'm looking back on the last 8 weeks or so, man, it has really felt like a time warp. So in today's episode, we're going to crack the code on the chart of the new moon from Monday, September 2nd, which was also right after Pluto ingressed back into Capricorn. And now that we are back in the uncomfortable zone of that energy, if this is our first look into what Pluto in Aquarius was like, man, I can't wait to see what kind of existential time travel shit we uncover during the next 20 years of that transit. But before we get into that, here we are in the present moment. The essence of Virgo season. A new moon. A grand trine with a kite. T-squares. Impending eclipse season. And Pluto taking its last dip into Capricorn for the next 79 or so days. Not that I'm counting down or anything. Now listen, I've explained the dynamics of evolutionary astrology before, and in this methodology, there are no truly bad transits. Everything the energy is trying to show us is for our own growth and our greatest good. But that doesn't make it all that fun to experience in 3D waking life. And in my humbled humanness, I have not been looking forward to Pluto's last dip into Capricorn, especially as we move into an eclipse season followed by a Scorpio season that includes the US election. I mean, I'm kind of tired just thinking about all of it. So let's look at it further and sort it out and uncover its wisdom and guidance together. So we've been in this grand trine formation for a bit, and it holds through much of the week as well. Of course, Pluto, now at 29 Capricorn, is right there in the mix, along with Uranus at 27 Taurus and Venus now at 5 Libra, conjunct with the South Node. In addition to the Grand Trine, we have sextiles to Neptune 29 Pisces, creating the Kite formation. A kite in an astrology chart is a harmonious and dynamic aspect pattern that looks literally like a kite. There's a supportive Grand Trine topped by another trine whose apex directly opposes the opposite end of the Grand Trine. The Grand Trine itself provides flowing supportive energies while the opposition adds tension and focus. Together, the kite aspect suggests the potential for balance, where the tension of the opposition can be channeled through the harmonious energy of the Grand Trine, leading to dynamic growth. Now, the fact that this is all pointing to Neptune is giving us a clue that there is great healing on offer here. So let's dissect it a little bit more. Now, I'm not going to beat around the bush here, and we can dive right into the elephant in the room. Pluto 29 Capricorn. Now, the good news is we know this energy. Aside from the first 8 months of this year, we've essentially been in Pluto and Capricorn since 2008. Capricorn is our rule maker. Saturnian energy of responsibility, accountability, maturity, and commitment. It's serious, hardworking, and dedicated to its accomplishments. 29 is the anaretic testing degree. In this energy, Pluto continues to remain not fucking around. In this energy, Pluto is absolutely committed to showing us anything and everything that continues to block us from our future forward vision. It's showing us in no uncertain terms where dedication and commitment are needed in order to get us back to emotional wholeness, and being guided by a combination of our heart's intuition alongside our conscious minds. It's the energy of facing any shadows blocking us from seeing the bigger picture of life itself. So if you've been diligently opening your consciousness, facing your shadows head on, and experimenting with new choices, then this transit may still show you some more, but you're already well equipped to face it. However, if you've been hiding under the bed, or even worse, knowingly choosing against expanding your vision and consciousness because it's scary, because you're rigidly attached to old stories of how things were supposed to be or how you wanted them to be, well, expect the next few months to be, expansive. And listen, we're probably all gonna see things we don't want to see in this transit. That's the nature of shadow work itself. We don't keep things tucked away out of our awareness because it's fun. We do it out of fear, protectiveness, control. So much love and empathy to all of us going through this transit together. This is where we get to remember the threads that bind us together in humanity, and that we need each other and how we can find each other. But it may not look that way, especially on the collective level. Control systems are going to be vying for control, because keeping us thinking we are safe under false, antiquated ideologies about the world are what keep us controllable. However, Pluto has already shown us that when we move into Aquarian energy, the shift to consciousness expands along with it. No matter what control systems fail and try to do within the next 3 months, anything that's not future forward and visionary in nature won't stand the test of the next 20 years. This is a collective part of our evolution. And trining in to assist with that process, we have Uranus at 27 Taurus. So Taurus is our slow and steady wins the race energy. It's about abundance and manifestation over time and through persistence. It's our highest quality of life. It's Venusian energy seeking peace, unity, harmony, and justice. Uranus is the wild card planet of disruption and awakening, at a third decan of a Mars degree. Uranus 27 Taurus is moving things out of the way. It's electrifying them with intention to disrupt the status quo. Now that energy is trining into Pluto and Capricorn. So you can think of this in a number of ways. Taurus is slow, so maybe something has been nagging at you for a while. Something you know you need to face, but you keep looking the other way. Well, Pluto is going to do its best to shed light on that. And Uranus might be the grunt energy that swoops in with something weird and shocking to expose that shadow. And it can be harsh. But that's not because it's mean or because it's trying to hurt you like a malefic planet, but rather maybe it's because you keep looking away. But you need to look. You need to acknowledge, because this baggage doesn't need to be dragged into the new world that we are trying to build. We simply can't be future forward when we're clinging onto the past and won't acknowledge how it's guiding and impacting our decision making. So this Uranian energy might act kind of like the astrological bouncer, coming in with a situation meant to illuminate the shadows and make it so uncomfortable that we move the baggage out of the way, because we aren't taking it with us. What we are trying to bring in is more feminine energy, Taurus and Venus, to heal the imbalances of the world created by unconscious wounded masculine energy. Now Capricorn isn't directly that, but it is the father energy. So if you're a dude or you identify with your masculine energy, and to be honest, I'm not sure how many actual male followers I even have here. Please comment below if you're male. But if you are here, I'm going to guess you're conscious and at least aware of some of the imbalances and are willing to own that something needs to change. If you're not, well, the next minute or two of this episode may be a little bit triggering for you. Now, I've been noticing a pattern with friends and in the readings I've done over the past few weeks. There is a deep imbalance between masculine and feminine relationship energy. Men, those identify as masculine. I mean, I hate to be the one to tell you, but I thought that you should know, because that's what I'm here for. Stop hiding from yourselves and from us already. It's like a cat that hides behind the curtains, but you can see its paws and its tail is sticking out. You may be hiding, but we still see you. I know some of you are working on it, and if that's you, thank you for being brave guides and leaders. Because there's so many men out there right now cowering in their emotional unavailability, but still attempting to be in relationships. That's probably part of the issue behind the whole situationship thing that's so prevalent right now. But listen, guys, we know you're scared. We know you don't want to look at your shadows. And if those of you have looked, maybe you just don't know what to do with them. Maybe you're so embarrassed about how we got here that you're hiding in shame. I know that there are so many men out there who can't even accept this as a truth. So they keep hiding from themselves and projecting it out onto their partners. But like Capricorn, it's father energy. So, like with this last run of Pluto in Capricorn, the gig is up. Just face yourselves. I promise there's forgiveness, empathy, balance, and harmony on offer for you. But you have to go through yourself to get there. You have to face yourself individually first because there's a much bigger collective problem that we need to solve together. And it's going to take masculine and feminine energy working together to solve it. But we need you. How do I know this? Well, just trust me. Just kidding. I'm going to show you. The third placement in this grand trine just so happens to be Venus at 5 Libra conjunct South Node 6 Libra. So yes, balance, harmony, flow, peace, and justice, literally doubling down here. Libra is the diplomat of the zodiac, ruled by the goddess Venus herself. And at the Mercury degree, she wants to negotiate. And she's not alone. She's conjunct the collective South Node at the Venus degree. This is a lot of supportive feminine energy being like, hey guys, you need to listen. We absolutely want to build new worlds. We need to. There's too much imbalance, too much injustice happening within humanity itself. On the scales of minor attention to outright humanitarian atrocities. As a collective, we are not acting in accordance with our natural state of balance. Venus wants to restore that. Because the South Node is present here, there's an energy of restoring balance as an element that comes natural to us as humans, and especially as individuals. Feminine energy is the answer here. Receiving creativity, emotions, beauty. Flow is an ancient balancing point of our existence. Somewhere over the last 2,000 years of unconsciousness, we lost that balance deeply and found empowerment in superficial endeavors, which isn't just a masculine problem. That's the lower octave of South Node Libra energy as well. But it's going to take greater respect and incorporation of Venusian properties to restore our collective balance. And it's the Pluto and Libra generation, essentially the late Gen X to elder millennials, who have been primed throughout their lives to lead this mission. So do you see how Pluto and generational placements work? These slow outer planets have similar themes that everyone in that generation is faced with. The houses and degrees that they fall into on our individual charts are different, which make up different experiences and approaches to similar core problems. That's how we learn and acquire individual threads of wisdom, meant to lead and help others. Then, as Pluto shifts, it essentially activates the energy of an entire generation because they hold specific awarenesses and healing bombs to essentially assist by leading the charge towards rebirth. It's wild. So the combination of South Node and Venus in Libra opposed Neptune at 29 Pisces. Now this energy here is slightly out of orb to the North Node, but because the Kite deals with the opposition to the sextile planet, it's pointing to Neptune, yet it's still part of the current nodal path as well. The way I look at evolutionary astrology, the nodes are essentially a path and a balancing act. They're sort of the purpose of your whole chart and the purpose of this incarnation. So every placement on the chart, whether or not it aspects the nodes, are all supporting that particular direction of evolution. So while they're not exactly conjunct here on the North Node side of the opposition, because South Node is involved and the South Node is always in opposition to the North Node, we pretty much have to consider the nodes in the equation. The way I look at a chart, there's nearly always nodal implications involved in most aspects anyway. Neptune at 29 Pisces has probably been in every single episode I've made of this series so far. It is the healing of our collective subconscious. It's rediscovering and transcending our beliefs about spirituality. And in Pisces, we're talking about the healing of consciousness itself. Now, another slow outer generational transit, Neptune, has been in Pisces for about 13 years, so let's just say it's seen some stuff. Retrograding now at 29, the testing degree, it wants us to see some stuff too. It wants us to look at life through the lens of empathy and compassion, to look at where we are as human beings and heal the great divide that exists between us. I mean, humans are pack animals just like other mammals, and we've become too individuated for our own good. This was purposely orchestrated to keep us controllable. I mean, think about horses in a stable. Do they roam around freely? Or are they in their own individual pens? Are they confined to their own spaces and kept separate? And given a bit of perceived freedom through an enclosed pasture? Humans do this to maintain a level of control over animals. Now put that in the context of humanity. Control systems are having us all pay to live in individual homes with individual expenses, governed by communities, but are we actively engaged by them? Or are they keeping us safe? Now, sometimes if you're lucky, and generally speaking, the more affluent community you're in, the more control individuals within that community have, because it's all orchestrated that way. Now, that's a whole different episode, and conspiracy theories aside, can anybody watching this, no matter where you're from, honestly say that our society is built in a way that we all have equal opportunities to live in our highest joy and be led by passion and love and creativity? To experiment and to find out how we can best contribute to society, and then follow a path that's symbiotically fulfilling and of service to others in our community and supports our livelihood? But that's the line of thinking that Pluto in Aquarius wants to open up for us. But it can't do it alone. It needs our participation. It needs Venus's pursuits of justice, flow, and harmony. It needs Uranus to shake some shit up and expand our awareness. And through the flow of those energies working together, we can really approach the underlying tension between masculine and feminine. Right now, while this grand trine and kite formation is in alignment, North Node is at 6 Aries, the Venus degree of Aries in a Mars-ruled sign. That's like the underlying essence of the whole thing. Mars gets to take action and create new worlds on the empowerment of Aries, passionately protecting vulnerability, which is what the masculine-feminine balance was always meant to be. Venus's goal of receiving a safe, peaceful space where she can deeply connect with the creative healing flow is the exact world that Mars and North Node Aries can set out to create. She is ahead of Mars, scoping out what he gets to build and essentially feeding the information to him. He then gets to be empowered by her and fiercely protective of their partnership, rather than ego-driven, reactive, and impatient. Ultimately, the new world that Pluto in Aquarius is helping us build will require us to really look at and let go of antiquated ideologies that keep us disempowered. That's what the nodes have been telling us all along. It's the masculine energy that builds the structure of the world, and his motivation gets to be on behalf of the feminine, because these are the qualities lacking in our current structure. Now it's going to take some tearing down, Pluto trine Uranus, to align us with that ideology. And let's be real, we've made good progress, but there is a lot more to do. Ultimately, this kite is pointing to Neptune. The goal is literally to change our limited beliefs so much that it actually blows our minds. What a volatile but interesting time to be alive. So let it flow, because flow is literally the entire point. We've been operating on such unconscious fear and trauma patterning that we essentially restrict the flow of our own transcendence. We're both active and unconscious participants in our own suffering. But Pluto in Capricorn is here one very last time in our lifetimes to tell us that we get to let it go now. Close it off, seal it up, because we're done with that now. Now, if you need some help seeing the things you get to let go of as part of this generational transit, and how your own chart and generation get to contribute to the rapid collective healing we're all experiencing, please book a session. The last few weeks, these charts have been absolutely coming alive with mission critical guidance for literally every single person I've been reading for. I would love to help read it for you too and sort it out so you can align with your highest purpose, fulfillment, and joy. So please comment below or DM on Instagram or anywhere else, because in order to heal and guide each other, we get to do the work within ourselves and our own lives in order to become lighthouses and beacons to others. Because we are way too far apart. We need each other. Because it is my mission to help you get in alignment with that energy. So not only do we have the energies of this critical opposition and nodal path combined, but at the moment of that new moon, it's forming a T-square to Mars at 28 Gemini. So remember like 5 minutes ago when I went on a bit of a rant about the masculine energy? The problem is right here on the chart, but so is the solution. So Mars, our action and brute strength, our warrior, builder of structure, is at the sun degree of Gemini, the sign of communication, intellect, and understanding. It's also the sign of curiosity and our astrological representation of polarities. Nearing the end of its run in Gemini, conscious energies at this point understands to a degree that the direction and understanding of what we want to build comes from the feminine. And look who's up ahead squaring him in the T-square. In Libra, the cardinal air sign that essentially represents relationships and brings together polarities. Oh yeah, hi, it's me, Venus. So given these two planets are in a square to each other, indicating some integration is necessary. Now, I've already talked a lot about what that means for Mars, but Venus, in her pursuit of leading the way by means of harmony, will also have to take responsibility for healing here. And I think this is where feminine energy really has to dig deep and practice what it preaches about peace, harmony, and flow being the key to what we're basing the foundation of our entire new world on. And that key comes in the form of dropping a ton of F-bombs. Forgiveness, of course. What did you think I meant? So yeah, wounded masculine energy has suppressed and exploited the healing energy of the feminine, and then proceeded to build a whole fucked up world on that wounded ego-driven energy. Ouch. Men are embarrassed. Even if many of them are so emotionally unavailable, they don't know that's what's underneath it all. That's what that feeling is. But I'm telling you, embedded deep within masculine energy, it's shame. Masculine energy is so embarrassed, and now it's overcompensating by acting like an injured puppy and hiding from itself. Now remember, this isn't only a men versus women issue. We all have balances and imbalances of masculine and feminine energies within us all. And we are first asked to forgive that and heal that imbalance so we can move forward and build new worlds from the perspective of sacred union. It comes from inside the house. If we repair and heal our own self-abandonment issues first, then we can tackle our collective relationship issues and imbalances between masculine and feminine on the collective level. In Virgo season, it's easy to feel overwhelmed at what needs to be fixed. But look at that grand trine. We're so supported in this. And we don't need to overthink it because this is the direction the energy is taking us, whether or not we're on board. So we might as well flow with it and allow it to shift what needs to shift. You literally can't fight a whole planet, and trying to will just make that transformation that much more painful. So listen, I'm seeing this on so many charts right now, in so many of my friends' relationships too. Men are ghosting women they love because they can't bear to look at the pain they have caused. And the unhealed feminine is internalizing that as not being chosen and lack of self-worth. So the masculine, knowing the pain they've caused, they know they have to own up to it, and they know they need to face themselves, but they can't find the balls to do it yet. They have to find it within themselves. It's an internal issue that they are then projecting onto others by trying to have relationships without doing the inner work. Partially an attempt to continue the old trend of having the feminine do the emotional labor for them. But in this shifting Pluto energy concurrent to the Aries Libra nodal axis, that approach doesn't work anymore. So men and masculine energy then hide from themselves. This can be ghosting. Some swear off relationships and play in superficial connections, which can often come from loneliness that stems from their own self-abandonment. Some simply cower into themselves and don't do the work they need to do via therapy, inner work, healing modalities, self-love, etc. Areas where the feminine are such a wealth of resource of support and guidance for them to lean into. But keep your eye on the prize here. Yes, it's messy, but Pluto is rebirth and birth is messy and painful, but also purposeful, and especially with the Pluto and Libra generation really coming of age right now. Part of this stems from self abandonment, but there's another dimension of it that's really necessary. A concurrent theme of antiquated control systems breaking down. We are moving away from the reliance on the archaic system of marriage and forced monogamy. Now, I'm going to be bold here and say that when Pluto is in Aquarius, there's literally no more room for government or religious involvement in our relationships. We are currently experiencing the discomfort and tension of the breakdown of the idea that we choose a partner for life so that we can essentially escape reality with them. What if the future of relationships gets to be a place where we choose each other monogamously only in our wholeness, mutual respect, and desire to be with each other genuinely? Not because we're told to, or because what other people have done, or what religion and government tells us to do, because we choose it, heart-led in joy, because that's what we want, at our own pace, when we want to. And everything else is considered learning and experimentation along the way. And what if the key to that is led by Jupiter and Mars in Gemini and soon Uranus as well? Communication and understanding between people is key. So in many ways, although it looks like chaos and confusion, what if everything is actually happening right on time and with great purpose? Now, don't get me wrong, I still empathize deeply with the feminine here. Many women and feminine identifying energies out there, y'all are probably like, this bitch is crazy if she thinks we're just gonna forgive. Have we not forgiven enough? Where does it end? This is not fair to us. And fairness is a Libra quality, so what gives? Well, let me just remind you that we are still in Virgo season with South Node Libra. We have new moon conjunct sun at 11 degrees. I mean, we're literally instructed by that placement to use this new moon to heal emotional imbalances. It's sun and moon, masculine and feminine. It wants a new, fresh start. Pluto wants to move things in the way of building new worlds. We're opposed Saturn, the taskmaster, at the Neptune degree of Pisces. Accountability and responsibility to that balance of masculine and feminine. In another T-square with Jupiter at 19 Gemini, who wants to expand our understanding and the way we work with information, being filtered to us in and through new ways. But in the final call and demands of Pluto 29 Capricorn sextile Neptune 29 Pisces, we have to be willing to let that shit go. And we have to work at it. Remember, Virgo loves to be the fixer. It wants us to heal. It's happening right on time. So goddesses, or is it goddess I don't know. Anyway, we get to dig deep here into our forgiveness. First and foremost, for ourselves. We didn't know what we didn't know. Humanity in this linear reality has never been this conscious. So first and foremost, we get to forgive ourselves. Masculine, feminine, however you identify, forgive yourself for abandoning yourself and your inner child. Because ultimately it's love, empathy, and compassion that will make us whole again. And that's why Venus chooses her nature in Libra as a peacemaker. But not at the expense of herself, not because of what others deserve, for this isn't the lower octave of Libra energy built on judgment. No, we get to forgive in pursuit of what we really want to receive. We get to forgive for ourselves, because the age of unconscious masculine leading the world is over now. It may seem early and downright blasphemous for me to make that call based on where we are in 3D reality. But from an energy perspective, we get to watch the world transform. We change our energy first, and 3D gets to catch up and project that back to us. We get to forgive because we want to build a new world based on balance, flow, and beauty. And we need to take our own Saturn responsibility to not build from our pain. If we do that, we're just overcompensating and making the same mistake the masculine made. but from the opposite ends of the spectrum. We don't want to swing that far back. There were already worlds built on that energy too, and we're not here right now in this present moment to repeat the past. So we get to forgive as an act of bravery and service to humanity. Forgiveness doesn't mean it never happened. Forgiveness means we have learned from it and we are aware of it, so we won't repeat the mistakes of the past. But, and this is key, forgiveness also allows the masculine to come out of hiding from himself, both internally within our own energy fields and externally within our relationships, and ultimately feeds into the creation of the new structures that we want to build. We as feminine goddesses get to create a safe space for men to lead and trust in a new vision, because that leadership ultimately comes from the heart and from the healing power of the feminine. Now, I know this is a lot to ask, and if you've watched up until now, you might be like, WTF? But just remember, the goal here is Pluto and Capricorn, leaving behind anything in the way of our expansion into Pluto in Aquarius, which is our future forward vision. The goal here is healing collective imbalance. The goal here is Neptune 29 Pisces, testing your commitment to literally having your beliefs about healing blown up and transformed into something you probably can't even imagine yet. So if the idea that the feminine gets to forgive as an act of service that leads us towards the future forward vision of peace and harmony for humanity, if that is the triggery mindfuck that you need to engage in this radical act of balance, whether it be within yourself, your relationships, family or religious dynamics, or within the greater scope of humanity itself, well, let it flow, 'cause it won't stop. Thank you so much for joining me today and watching this episode and trusting my guidance. As part of my mission to follow my bliss and concurrently be of service to others, I'd love to help you crack the code of your own astrological chart and uncover the hidden guidance within it. Whether you're interested in live readings, written analysis, or even personalized videos like this one tailored to your specific chart, I'm here to support your journey. Stay connected with me by subscribing here on YouTube and give me a follow on Instagram for regular cosmic insights and content. Plus, check out my website for some fun, customizable astro merchant gifts to rep your unique astrological code. And remember, let it flow, because it won't stop.